Good afternoon and welcome to my live. The energy's a little bit high today. I have been sitting here connecting in my sacred I am, connecting with some of the cosmic energies. Before I start, I just want to connect with some sacred sounds, so just please join me. Before I start, I'm just going to connect with some sounds of the universe. So just bear with me a moment. Connecting up with some of the galactic tones, the ancient sounds coming forth. As we connect with sounds and sacred sounds, number frequencies, we connect with different vibrations and lights. These frequencies and sounds and numbers come forth and activate our very being. As I connect now, I just want to speak a little bit about some of the information that I've received from Saturn. Saturn is making some very important transitions next year in 2020. When we are receiving energy flows coming in, often or not, it is as a result of certain planetary shifts, certain planetary movements, galactic events, cosmic events, and so forth. There are a lot of metaphors that are unfolding at this time. I've been sharing an awful lot of with you all with regards to a lot of the metaphors that are coming in. So basically, Saturn, we all know Saturn is the one with the belt going around in a cyclic fashion. I've been speaking a lot about what is actually happening with the solstice energies, transition from Pisces to Aquarius, a lot of the Jupiter energy, a lot of the different codes that are coming in at this time, the Orion Nebula. I've been sharing an awful lot with regards to the 42 Nebula over the past couple of years. But this particular cycle, starting from solstice, moving forward as we're transitioning into 2020, is going to be something quite big. As I said, I work with number codes. I'm working purely in the energy of the equinox, the cycle of the equinox. I work inside the Nama palette and the procession of the equinox and the zodiac. I've shared a lot with you in terms of what happens in the field of the cycle of the ages and so forth. So what I'm going to now speak today about is Saturn and what is happening with Saturn. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Saturn. Saturn has been named after Star of the Orion. Star of the Orion is Osiris. And that particular energy, Saturn also replicates the karmic cycle of the universe, often are not connected with the karmic board. the law of the cause and effect and so forth. There's an awful lot to associated with Saturn's energy. Again, if you go back into ancient times, they used to celebrate Saturn. Certainly in the Roman era, they used to celebrate Saturnalia. There's a lot of different events surrounding this particular planet. But what I'm going to speak about is Saturn is making some important transitions. A little bit about Saturn itself. As I was connecting with Saturn, connecting with Star of the Orion 2020, I was also picking up 4 pillars of truth. I have spoken a little bit about the 4 pillars of truth. Certainly, I have been given the 4 pillars of truth activating. I have been shown the 4 pillars of truth by Horus when I was in altered state with Horus. He showed me 4 pillars, and each pillar had 3, 3, 3. So what we have is 3 times 4 equals 12. So I have been shown the 4 pillars of truth. Now, in 2020, it's a year of 4. What I've also discovered when I was connecting with Saturn and the Saturn belt, Saturn has 4 belts going around that particular planet. Now, what I've also uncovered is the transition of Pisces into Aquarius. There was an important shift in 2012 that affected the grid lines and the ley lines, but I'm picking up that in this particular year of 12 and the 12-12-12 gateway, the 360 degrees of the complete cycle, zodiac cycle. 12-12-12 equals 9. 21st of December 2019. Again, we're getting, it's the 20, I'm getting the 12, 21, 12, a combination of numbers of 2s and 1s. But again, if we look at 12-12-12 gateway and the actual and this year's winter solstice, both of them is going to be the Trinity of Trinities, which is 3-3-3. If you break it down, it's 3-3-3. Both those days is a 9 day, a 9. So number 9 is always about completion of cycle, entering into the alchemy and magic and so forth. So we're going into completion. 12 is also a number of completion. As we're going into the 2012, we have some important transitions that Saturn is entering next year. And I have been given and I've been shown equinox. Autumn equinox is the 20th of March, and around that time Saturn makes a transit into Aquarius around the 21st of March 2020. So we have 20th of March. This is interesting. 20th of March is again 20th of, so we got 20 0322. So basically that is a day of number 9, and this is equinox. Again, a number 9 gateway for autumn equinox. So it's making, Saturn is making its transition into Aquarius. Now, when I was also connecting up as well with regards to my my higher self, connecting with my certain codes, I'm connecting with Saturn. I was born on the 28th day of July. It takes 28 days to complete a full cycle. This particular planet, Leo, is a 6th house of service. Again, I also want to connect with the Titan moon. Titan moon, as I was connecting with the Titan moon, that's it's a sixth planet away from Saturn, which I'm getting. That's the sixth moon from away from Saturn. Second largest moon in this universe. Titan is also considered, as they said, they considered it as a planet. It's very similar to the Earth in its nature. Yes, it can withstand life forms. Titan can withstand life forms, and I know it can. I know it used to be a former planet. As I said before, moons within this galaxy and within a system have to complete 7 cycles, 7 root races before it becomes a moon. So these moons used to be planets in themselves. So again, Saturn has 62 moons, and the base for Saturn is actually Titan. I'm fully aware of this because I'm connecting very much. I work with Sar of the Orion. Sar is supposed to be the sacred masculine that my higher self is affiliated to, because my higher self is Sopdet of Sirius. My sacred masculine, the cosmic side, is Sar of the Orion. So I'm fully aware, bringing this energy in as I'm connecting with Heru. Heru is the very essence of Osiris. Horus is the fulfillment of Osiris. So what is happening as we're anchoring the 4 pillars of truth? We are anchoring again. It's about bringing the truths in to the universe, activating truth. We are going into a cycle of great revelation. We are heightening up now the awareness of significant souls that have come into play in service to humanity. This is what's actually happening. So where does this stand? We are actually entering 2 gateways of Aquarius. Saturn is creating gateways to the Aquarius. Saturn is actually rising up again, rising the consciousness. So Osiris back in ancient Egypt, again, is the very essence of the resurrection and ascension. So we have a look at the metaphors of actually what is happening with Saturn at the moment. So this is actually taking us into a very higher level of consciousness, because back in ancient times we have Osiris and Yeshua. They are one and the same being, replicating in 2 different time periods what it is like to actually resurrect and ascend. And this is basically what Osiris did in the fulfillment of Horus. Horus came back. He was birthed through Osiris. This is basically what Isis and Osiris did. They raised up Horus as a fulfillment. So Horus is actually the fulfillment, and this is why Horus, my spirit guide, decides he wants to be known as Horus, because it's the original fulfillment of the resurrection and ascension. It's basically what he's saying. We go back to the beginning of this root race, to the age, the age of Leo, when this root race began in Egypt, and he's actually guiding me back to that point, to the point where we started the cycle of procession. And we have again, he's given me the 4 pillars, and again we are again, the Aquarian age comes into play. So we have the 4 pillars, the 4 cardinal points, the 4 pointers of the ages, and within those each particular age is 30 degrees. So we also have 4 pointers within the zodiac as it moves age. It started at Leo. Then the next great big turn was in Taurus. Then it goes into Aquarius, and then Scorpio. So basically we have the four major points. We are at the 3rd major point, and this is why I'm seeing threes again. Lots of threes coming through. So again, we are at that particular point, the 3rd point. And we are now, as I say, making that massive transition. And it's like Saturn is making 2 important transitions next year in Aquarius. The first one, as I said, it will be at equinox, autumn equinox. The next one is going to be just before winter solstice on the 17th of December. Yes, it's going to be making other massive shifts, but these 2 pointers are going to be very important in terms of opening up the gateway to a higher level consciousness. We'll see a massive shift taking place as we are receiving the abundance coming in from the universe. These are pointers where we are looking at, in terms of cosmic shifts, bringing in a lot of energy, bringing a lot of consciousness, bringing in the truths. I have, as I say, a lot of people connect with me recently, and I know some of my clients have been connecting a lot again, and I have been doing an awful lot of doodling. I don't know if you can see it, but I've been getting sword of truth, and like last night again, it was about speaking your truth. I've been getting an awful lot of stuff coming through. I'm just going to see if I can find that other one, because I've got so much codes coming in, but the sword of truth is coming through very prominently with my higher self. Somebody actually saw a vision of my higher self standing over me with a sword of truth, and it was kind of interesting, because as she was connecting up through my higher self, she actually shared it with a few people. She actually saw a vision of Sekhmet carrying the sword of truth, and this is basically what it's about. And a lot of people are now, funnily enough, connecting with the sword of truth, whether it be through, again, Archangel Michael is a carrier of the sword of truth, but these certain bits and pieces I was coming through, I don't know if you can see it, but the sword of truth is something that I want to say, this is what we need to behold at this time. As we are connecting with that energy and light, we become the beholders of the sword of truth. And that is a metaphor that's coming in to play at this time. And it's very much working from the heart chakra down into the throat chakra, making that conscious connection, connecting with yourselves, connecting with your timelines, your Akashic records, your energy fields. The more that we are able to do this, the more we flourish, we grow within ourselves. And this is something that I advise everybody to do, is to make that conscious connection, that divine connection with self. because so much more comes into your being. You're then able to share and shine this light out to those around you. And it's very important that we're able to work within that sphere. I'm just quickly seeing, okay, I'm going to say hello to everybody who's watching me. At this time. So what does it mean? I'm going to go back to Saturn. Saturn. We are metaphorically at this time, in the time where we are rising, we are resurrecting through our awakening state. And as we're resurrecting through our awakening state, we are then opening up that field for our soul's ascension. This is something that is not new for many of us. I know I've walked this path for many eons and different lifetimes. I'm fully aware that in past life my soul has done and completed cycles of ascension. This is something that's not new to me, so that's why I'm back here to help many people to facilitate their soul's ascensions. So this is nothing new. But what I say to people is about simplicity. It's about heart chakra, heart space, purity, love, compassion, healing. I tend to keep things simple. This is what Spirit advises me to do. Keep things simple. Keep things in the sphere of love and understanding. I'm going to sort of tell you a little bit about connection with Spirit and the spirit world. And certainly when you're connecting up and you might have connection with loved ones coming through. I'm going to say, when you connect up to spirit world, to the higher realms, the language is universal. There is, as I say, there is no barriers, there's no divides, there's no separation. It is a universal understanding. So when I've connected with souls that have come through for their loved ones, and they haven't spoken much English language, and they've come through, and I've given them a message from their loved ones, they come through with a language that is of great understanding. Yes, they speak to me in the language that I understand, because it is important to transmit that piece of evidence, that bit of healing and connection to their loved ones. So in the higher sphere of understanding, there is no barriers, there is no divides. Everything comes in a sphere of great oneness. So this is basically what it is all about. Being universal, working in that sphere of love, in that sphere of understanding. And also, something I've also learnt when on my ascension path is not to be in judgment of other people. Not to be in judgment, people having different paths, coming in from different paths. I'm working at this time with people who've had backgrounds as Christians, people who are on the ascension that are still attached to the church, still going to church because they feel that closeness with Yeshua and the Christ energy. They still go to church, and they've awakened and they're harnessing their abilities in the most beautiful way. I'm also working with a lot from the Hare Krishna temple, and again, these people are way on their ascension path. Buddhists, I'm working with people with Buddhist backgrounds, and it is important that we are embracing souls that are on their path and their light, and technically, the Christ energy forms part of the Christianity through Yeshua. It forms part of Buddha, going through the line of Buddha, through the line of Krishna. And yes, there are certain religions and spheres that, as I said, people are on their different pathways. But being a worker in the healing and the connection, working with these souls, they are able to decide what path they're taking, where this is leading to, because the more they're making that conscious connection, they're able to surrender. And when they surrender, they're able to make the decision to go to the next step of their spiritual journey. So it's very important that we are taking those into the next step. On the other hand, it is also important that we work in the sphere of truth and understanding and through love. There is an awful lot of stuff that's coming through by means of distortions at the moment, and it is okay. This is what I teach in the sphere of our spiritual journeys, that we take what is resonating to us and put to one side that doesn't resonate to us. And it is okay to step that to one side and say, well, that's not quite resonating with me right now, because if that is happening, then how can that be happening? How can we be experiencing that? So yes, it is okay to take up on board that's resonating with your soul, with your heart space at this time, because it's part of evolution. But as you're expanding in your consciousness, you get into a bigger awareness, a bigger sphere of awareness, and you know what's right and what's wrong. So yes, on one hand, I do work with many souls on different pathways, and on the other hand, yes, because I'm in a bigger sphere of awareness, I will say, if it doesn't resonate with me, I will speak my truth. I will say, this doesn't resonate with me because this is what I've learned from my spirit guide team. This. Also what I've learned from my spirit guide team, which is a very higher understanding, is that I'm working in number codes, frequencies, Akashic records, and as I connect and help souls to connect with their Akashic records, and I do this through conscious connection, through meditation, enabling people to make that connection, and I've done this online. I do this as part of the mentorship program, and people are shifting, they're expanding, they're growing. I'm getting people channeling, connecting with themselves, connecting with their guides, unfolding their abilities, their inner qualities. So this is part of my path. I'm empowering the souls, and this is what we're here to do as healers, as connectors, as light workers. We're here to empower souls. The art of connection is most important. Being able to connect, being able to feel that you are on a journey yourself, being part of your own soul's evolution, as well as helping to support others in their path and light. It's very important. So yes, we are here as light workers, healers, mediums, star seeds, way showers, rainbow warriors. We're all here part mission to help to raise this planet. The other planets, this is why I'm bringing forth, like Saturn is making certain massive connections, transitions, metaphorics. Because I'm connecting with metaphor, I'm working in the metaphor with Heru, connecting the spirit and matter, working with the cosmos. stuff like this. I too am on a metaphoric mission. So if I'm receiving metaphors of understanding, metaphors, codes, numbers, so forth, I am going to bring that through to share it with you, because it is about expanding your awareness, expanding your consciousness, making you think, oh, what does my date of birth mean? What does those numbers mean within my date of birth? Why have I chosen those numbers? Why have I chosen to be born on that day? What was my plan? Why did I come here? What does those number frequencies mean for me? What does it mean for my soul's journey and evolution in this now? This is something that I work with many people to help them unfold this greater knowledge, because we are all on mission. We're all on mission, and codes feed in to greater sense of things. They even feed in to the harmonics, to the sophisticos, to the healing practices, even to colours and all sorts of things. So if you look at numbers feeding into the sophisticos, if you go say 496, let me have a look at 496 frequency. Was it 496? Anyway, let's look at 528 frequency, 963 frequency. Some of these frequencies that we have and utilize within our healing. If we look at these frequencies, they all come to 369. I did an online workshop back in 2016. I may activate this once more so that it gives you a bit of awareness. Basically, the sophisticos, again, number frequencies, sounds, light language, all form part of the healing and connection. Light language formulates, if you look at number frequencies, sounds, light language, formulation of sacred geometric shapes, quantum physics, and sacred heart space. All this is connected to the greater healing of this planet. So I work from a cosmic sphere. Yes, the numbers, numerology, angelic, cosmic numbers. I work on all three areas. When I'm doing ascension path readings, I'm only interested in the cosmic side. Yes, some of the numerology, lower frequency numbers, giving you the life path side. This is where it comes in. You have life path, you get the angelic synchronicity like 333, 1111 and stuff like that, and then you go into the cosmic sphere of number codes. What does it mean for us in our dates of birth? The identifiers of our soul and our soul essence, our journeys and so forth. Sometimes for us, if we're making a conscious connection with our codes, that comes into play. It takes time for that conscious connection, but it has to take someone to activate that knowledge within us to actually say, oh, well, that makes sense, actually. That actually makes sense. And then all this ties in with the movement, our zodiac, our planetary, our elemental influences and so forth. All this comes into play and creates part of your Akashic journey. And you know, you're able then, once you're able then to access that, you're activating a lot more from your, you know, from your soul's journey and bringing those abilities into this now. So if you have something like number 2 within your numbers, that's a very harmonic number. 8 is an infinite number. Here being called to bring the energy from the universe into the earth. And it's an infinite number. So there's a lot of things about number frequencies. I certainly learnt a lot from my own particular date of birth. It was divinely planned. Something that I have worked with Horus, the spirit of Horus, with, and he's given me an awful lot of signs, symbols and stuff like that along the way, and this is how I've worked in conscious connection, enabling to work with my Akashic record. I've been able to understand the line of mine and Horus's line down the line, working with the 4 pillars of society as well, how the 4 pillars of society have affected us on the Akashic line, what we have had to do with the 4 pillars of society. And this could be in the areas that, as I say, I've shared the 4 pillars of society that we've worked on our Akashic line, certainly from the time of the Templar Knights. It can also go back to Solomon's Temple. We're talking about the Catholics, the Catholics, commoners, Freemasons, and the Jews. We're working in the 4 pillars to bring forth the healing and release in those 4 areas, and I know why those 4 areas have had to be worked upon. The Jews being the Christ Yeshua's timeline. The Freemasons is tied in with Louis and Marie Antoinette. The Catholics is tied in with the Templar Knights. The commoners is to do with collective healing, the collective healing that goes right through the ages and the stages. So I know there were 4 pillars that needed to be healed and released, and these 4 pillars that I have been working on, part of mine and Horus's Akashic record. I've shared a lot about some of the stuff that's come through in terms of the Knights Templars, because Horus, he actually incarnated as Hugh de Pienne and Jacques de Molay, the very first Knight Templar and the last Knight Templar. And I've shared again in this lifetime where I have actually done an awful lot of energy releasing and work to pardon Jacques de Molay and the Templar Knights, which was facilitated by Pope Benedict XVI before he stepped down. And I know why he stepped down. There was a divine reason. So there's an awful lot of stuff that came through and about the Templar Knights, and that had to be facilitated in this particular lifetime. This is all about the rising and the healing of the divine masculine. Again, with the Osirian energy rising up within the Aquarian age, this is actually something quite significant, because it again is about the ascension, the resurrection and the ascension of the divine masculine, bringing that balance with the divine feminine. A lot of it is about balance. And again, as I said, I spoke to you about the North and the South in my previous lives. If you've missed my previous lives, they're on my YouTube channel, Yondervale Spiritual Services. I'll put a link down, and it also on my previous Facebook lives as well. So I've spoken a lot about that in terms of the balance, the North and the South, North and South poles, having to balance, also like the East and the West, but the North and the South, there's a metaphors going on with regards to the balance of the North and South, and that should technically be no wall of separation. Again, just to recap with this particular, the the cycle of equinox. This is about the balance. This is what I did on one of my past lives. You can see where at the north and the south it is about the golden sun and the black sun. This is also about the feminine, the sacred womb of creation, rising up as we're rising up from the womb of creation where everything is birthed. So this is the sacred feminine. Sacred feminine represents the womb of creation. Everything goes up, and this is where this is a masculine field. So basically we are rising up. Again, this is also representing the winter solstice. So we're birthing the sun. The sun is birthed at winter solstice through the void, through the sacred womb of the feminine goddess energy. So basically we are birthing. So it always has to start from here. I shared something about the lotus flower. So say the lotus flower starts here and starts growing up through into the light, and this is what we become as we are growing up through, starting from the void, and we are coming up through here. So basically these are different types of metaphors, different types of metaphors of understanding. I was getting the Aten here, the Aten being the third eye. The third eye is about sight, receiving the spiritual senses. I also then, just before full moon, I shared this on my timeline. It is I heard, as I say, was shown Yeshua with the Aten coming out of his heart chakra. And for me, again, it is about sacred cycles. It is about consciousness. It is about the sun radiating. We become the sun within ourselves. As we are embracing the light of the sun, we are expanding, we are growing. Yeshua there with the Aten coming from his sacred heart space told me a lot. And then on full moon, full strawberry moon, I saw a lot of golden hues coming in from the moon, and it's pure dark in the sky, and all I was getting is golden. So that in itself is another sign that we are working within the sun rays, the Christed light, the Christ consciousness, and that must come from the heart space. A lot of metaphors, and as I'm explaining the metaphors, again, you see with this we have the cycle of the equinoxes, and I demonstrated this last on one of my previous lives, and it looks like a bit of a face there coming through. As I say, the north and south has to be balanced, and it is about us coming up from the south, representing the void, the coil of the universe, of this planet's Kundalini serpent sits in Peru, Lake Titicaca, and that coil is based there, and it goes all the way up into Tibet, and Tibet is up in the north. We also, as a connecting with the north and the south, we connect with the Hyperborean energies and the Hyperborean timeline, and in Hyperborea, it's very ethical in nature, connection with giants as well, very tall beings, but these beings were very ethical. These beings, there was no law of gender, everything was oneness. And this is basically what we are to do in this cycle, to bring everything back into oneness. For those of you who have been called on sacred twin flame journeys, again, it's about bringing everything back into oneness. And for many of us, we're on this path in different capacities, aligning spirit and matter, balancing the masculine, feminine, and so forth. And it's as above, so below, that cyclic effect, the infinite sign, as above, so below. So there's a lot taking place, at this time. I will share more about the Saturn as I'm receiving more activations coming in from Saturn energy, but I wanted to come and share with you all what is actually happening as we are kind of going into 2020, because it's going to be a very poignant year indeed. This journey continues. I want to say thank you to you all for joining me. God bless you all, and I will talk to you all soon. Thank you.